Hey there guys, I decided that I was going to come out again, do a little vlog. I'm trying to install us in such a manner that it's more or less comfortable to look at. I'm sorry I have to put on the big light, otherwise it's just going to be a grey blob because it's raining outside. Not like cats and dogs, but it's raining. But I'm pulling my candle in just a bit closer, just seeing what this looks like. Because we don't care about being professional, right? There it comes out in the angle. Never mind. It's just going to be right by my side here. So yeah, it's raining, it's very windy, and normally what you would consider to be autumn weather. I'm also, shuffling cards because I need to get me back into contact with my cards. And it's been, it's been a bit complicated. My life has been complicated in more ways than one. Interesting, but complicated. And I find that I just don't pull cards anymore when I am in a certain level of being all over the place, being confused, not feeling my real self. And then this is, I suppose, my way of sort of getting back in touch with that. Also kind of making myself do it. Because there's only so much that I can just wait for to happen. And there's an element of that in other things going on at the moment as well. This will be another witchy check-in ramble as you're used to, as per the norm. So I do have a couple of interesting threads that I kind of want to link up together for us for, whatever purpose that may serve. So I have shuffled, this is my Rose Oracle, my own homemade computer version of my Rose Oracle deck. I have shuffled these cards for a bit, and they're really comfortable to use. It's just, wallpaper, cardboard and wallpaper glue and that type of stuff, and printouts of my cards that I drew in during the course of time over the past year and a bit or so. And I'm very fond of them. None of these cards, it's an oracle deck, so none of these cards really have any prefixed significance as is given in a regular type oracle deck. I think there are loads of trends in oracle decks, whether they're based in some particular form of mysticism or not, whether they are, what type of phrases or what do you call those catchwords they use, what the purpose of the deck really is, all that will come for a really different type of deck. This thing is really personal for me, and I've shared a couple of these images with you guys before, so I won't go into too much detail. As you can probably tell, I'm also still tired and still I'm okay. I'm really starting to feel much more like myself again. Maybe I should say that first, tell you how I'm doing. A lot of that is basically also the Shakti. So I'm finding that what has comforted me inside, in my body, most of all in the areas of my body that have been like kind of clenched in a state of resistance, against whatever has been thrown at me during the past 2 months. I find that the Shakti energy really releases a lot of that tension. I have also kind of rediscovered that if I go in the bath, if I have a bath, and then afterwards I scrub properly using one of those ropey, gritty gloves over myself, that works a whole lot better than if I don't. So I did that yesterday, and I can actually still kind of tell that I'm less toxinated than I was, whereas if I just go do the regular bath routine, I will come out of that really heavy and feeling rather heavy. So I don't know what it's like for you guys, but I basically sort of rediscovered the scrub again. I think I have made this discovery several times already previously, and I just tend to forget about it. So scrubbing especially my lower legs and calves and shins and ankles. I found that that is in particular, helping quite a bit. So to eliminate the toxins much more than just the bath by itself. So I thought that was worth noting. This is my card. The card that's coming out says fish, like there. So I remember working on this card for quite a bit because I had to do quite a bit of layering in the drawing originally, and I don't know if you can see this, but it actually has little fish going under, the rippling of the little waves in the water. And there are a couple of memories that I have, lakes and ponds and things where you can see the fish in the water. And you can do with this image what you like, but many of us will, just find this a pleasant image to get as an oracle card. And for me, I suppose it means at the moment the water element. So basically being alive in the water. That's good. That's good. So what I was going to do was to draw just one of this, from this deck, and then move over to, while I talk to you, to my recently acquired, not newly, fairly recently acquired tarot of St. Petersburg, like so. These are the backs, well known to many people. And I haven't used this deck, I think, at all. I think I got it in somewhere in September or thereabouts. And it's, a deck that many people have. And I haven't really gotten into, to work with this quite so much. I have worked with the other one that I got at the time, the Kabbalistico Tarot. I've enjoyed quite a bit. And that's, very much more into the Hermetic style, and it has loads of astrological references and Kabbalah, of course, Tree of Life references that I have been studying on and off. And I think that, the coming months, if I get what I want, it will be, to just have the focus and the quiet peace of mind to come back to those things and sort of deepen my understanding of all those fields. And the book that I've shown you already, Alchemy and Mysticism, I will try to find the English translation for this and stick a link in the description to this, so you can have a look at that for yourself, because I love this. It's got so much. I don't know, about 20 pages in or so, many illustrations, and a lot of it is about the Hermetic, if you like, or the alchemistical worldview. And a lot of it, what I like in particular, is that there are many influences and there are many levels at which things are happening, and they're all influencing each other and stuff like that. So that's that kind of feels really good. As to my Tarot of St. Petersburg, what I was going to do was basically do a mind, body, soul, sort of a state of affairs 3-card draw for myself. And here they are. And what I'm getting sounds rather promising, depending on which order you take them in. Yeah, okay. So if I take this to mean mind, body, soul, okay, the mind is getting an 8 of coins, which looks like this. Trying to not hold it too close, because then there will be less light on the card. So that's what that looks like. And I will look at them in a bit more detail in a bit. The body card is the High Priestess. It's not bad. I think I know what this means, certainly. And the soul card is the 5 of clubs. So the 5 of wands, right? So maybe I'm doing okay, really. And the 5 of wands is really that there are so many elements that need to be resolved still. So part of that, I can see, as I'll put these cards aside for now, Eight of Pentacles is always cool in my book because that's kind of my life card in a way, to the extent that it's not the Knight of Wands, it's the Eight of Pentacles. The other thing that's been bothering me, other than, with the whole daddy issues business, is that I have, and I'm not completely sure how much to say about this, but there's a possibility that I might actually inherit some money from a distant relative of my mum's that goes way back in time. It looks like the person that's thought of my mother in her will, she is a descendant of a sister of my great-grandfather. So it's really lucky that I did so much family tree research, because when they phoned me up 2 months ago, around the same time that I started talking to my dad, it was so scary, It was scary because there was other stuff involved as well. The only thing is, now I have to prove that I am my mother's only daughter. And my mother divorced when she was 40 years old. So, and what with all the rest of it, I know that there aren't any other kids. But, and I don't know where this is all coming from and why and stuff. And there was a very exciting moment. That's the other bit of why it was tense and exciting at that time. And I so much wanted to talk to you about it, but I couldn't because, too scared about consequences and things. There were a couple of things. I had talked to my dad, and one of the first times that I really got to get a load more of an understanding of what life used to be like for those people, not just my parents, but also the people before them. In the morning, after I had done my middle of the night report, I think it was the second one of those 2 middle of the night things with the candle and all that, I watched a video by Benebell Wen about making contact with your ancestors. And it involved a black screen, a candle, incense, winter, and darkness, night. So check, like that. And later that afternoon, during the same day, I called up this notary firm that had sent me a letter, please call me on Thursdays or Fridays. That was a Thursday. And out comes this inheritance affair that still isn't resolved 2 months later because, my mother died 24 years ago. So there are no data left, really. I did get I've no idea what that's called, like a declaration of inheritance of some sort, when she just passed away. But I don't have that document anymore. And we're just waiting now. We've contacted everybody that can know anything or that can provide any data and files and stuff. And we basically have to just wait for something to come out of the woodwork. There's a couple of other options. And of course, I know that there isn't really a question because my mum was way too traumatized to have any interest in men after 35. She was done with men. So, yeah. But the hysterical thing for me was that seeing Benebell's video, about the whole ancestor thing, and then after I had done this video where I have this black screen in front of me and here I am, just chatting away into the darkness because I can't sleep and everything's just in my face too much and life's over, I'm just completely, that's why I'm tired, so, but the, what you call that? Serendipity or something? The synchronicity of the things happening just at the same time was crazy. So I just thought I had to record that anyway. If I can find it again, I will stick Benebell's video in the description as well. I'll have to watch this back to remember which was which, really, because I'm kind of lost. At the moment, I have in front of me another little paper adventure that I'm, going to get started on maybe next week or so, because not so much at the moment. But I printed out a couple of pictures of Saint Catherine of Alexandria. Here she is, a couple of versions basically in paintings right there. And this is the face of Saint Catherine over here in a sculpture in France that I thought was really pretty. Okay, that's better, right? I can see. And there's a Russian icon right there and a couple of other paintings. Most of them are Italian, the oil paintings, different eras. And sorry, Saint Catherine of Alexandria is thought to be the same person as Hypatia, who was a female mathematician and philosopher in Alexandria in somewhere around the zeros, or just before Christ or just after. I don't remember the dates at the moment. But she is supposed to be if you want help with family tree stuff, Saint Catherine is one of the people to go to pray to. She's a patron saint of genealogists, I found out on the French Wikipedia. So, it won't hurt to I'm going to just cut out these pictures and, stick them on cardboard and do something pretty with them. I haven't decided what exactly yet, which is why I'm not coming out with this is my finished product, because I don't know exactly what I want to do. And, maybe just stick that on my altar, and who knows, because during the week, somebody in my husband's work sphere, they're trying to sell their house. And the idea, if you want to sell your house in those, people who practice this type of approach, I don't think it's really called faith, but something close to that. What they did is they buried a statuette of Saint Joseph in their back garden with his face facing the house. And 2 minutes after they'd finished doing that, they actually got an offer on their house for, to buy the house. So I don't know whether that's come to anything, but of course the story was going around the office like that. And I went immediately okay, what do I got to do to get this inheritance stuff straightened out? And so I decided in the end, after, looking around for a bit, that Saint Catherine of Alexandria was my kind of, my kind of girl. And of course she's a martyr and there's all that. And I'm not so much into that. But there are a couple of really pretty pictures. And I suppose another big theme that has been on my mind recently is our culture and what we think of as our culture in the West, or in particular, yes, whatever the West really is. I mean, to my American friends out there, I am East, right? Logically. So it doesn't really make all that much sense to attribute. But let's say just in rich countries, right? Rich and white, or largely white, and countries and that sort of civilization where a lot of the assumptions are that power is a good thing and money is a good thing and all that. There are lots of ideas that can be had about that. And I don't think I really have the oomph to go into all that at the moment. But I've been trying to detect new ideas that have come to me, where I don't want to go into too much detail at the moment, but there's things going on in society that are not conducive to personal sovereignty that much, and I think that's a big problem, and I want to address that when I am, clearer headed and more capable of marshalling the words in the right way, because I don't want to say anything to anybody, you're doing it wrong or you're not doing the right thing or whatever. That's never my intention. But there are people, groups, not individuals necessarily, but groups of people where it is just it seems like it's all about conforming again to some type of it's another type of power. There's so much layering going on with this whole power idea. And if you don't get rid of the sense of power over, of dominance basically, and control, if you don't get rid of that, there will never be any sovereignty. And we have to. This is the way forward, right? I've just realized that this past week, with all my travails with my dad and all that, I've just realized it all over again. And like I said at the beginning of this kind of a rumble here, the Shakti energy has worked really well for me to counteract the effects of feeling dominated and hurt and stuck in a corner and called stupid, basically. I don't think of those things anymore. It's kind of gone. Basically, I'm sort of free of that. And so there's a whole vibrational thing going on where you need, if you want to be a sovereign human being, you need a couple of stepping stones, right? I think that's basically how it works. So for all of us to become this, whatever that means, best version of ourselves, really, it's about finding your stepping stones. And there have been quite a number of those for me as well. I feel like I am really on the sovereign side, on the sovereign end of things myself, even though I don't feel so like I'm bouncing all over the place necessarily. But I'm okay, and I'm okay, so I can go back to sleep in a bit. It's like I'm hibernating, basically. I am taking my time to recuperate and to, listen and look at things the way I think they should be in my own life. And that's it, really, like a high priestess kind of a vibe. Yes, I need that vibration a lot. It's like inner balance and out of sight what's going on in there, So one of the stepping stones for me is completion, in the sense of, like Jill Swan presents it, that I have really drawn towards myself to, I still have to do that. I still have to acknowledge if I have a nightmare about something horrible happening, then of course there is an issue there that I hadn't addressed properly, and I still have to step back inside myself to kind of make friends again with an old vibration that's inside me. So that's what completion does to me. It allows me to make room for more and more different personal vibrations, one at a time. And it means being allowed and allowing yourself to feel pain. If there's pain, then you should feel it, yes, because it's not going to go away until you allow it. It will not go away. If somebody suffers from nightmares the whole time, isn't that just because there's something that you just haven't charted out for yourself? You're trying to, you're resisting, basically. So I see my High Priestess card here as sort of managing the resistance quite a bit. And let me see what other details there are, because we have these decks because of their details, of course. There's a little window in the distance. In this card, she has a scroll. There's a lion sitting on her throne at the side. You can see it's like a carved lion. There are no real pillars other than the back of her throne, what that looks like. She has a veil and a crown and a cross on her chest and a hand in blessing. She might as well, she is a high priestess, but she looks very much like a popess, right? Like that. So you might, take out the Empress card and compare her with that. She looks very much like a popess. There's actually this very high crown. It's another case of where these images are so tiny and the faces are so tiny that it's kind of hard to really get a hold of the image. But the crown has standing figures in it. I don't know if you can make that out. So, like saints or virtues or some such kind of a detail. So this is definitely someone who is like my Saint Catherine of Alexandria, you know, like that. Someone who's seen it all and who's established a position for herself, which is not necessarily what I imagined for a high priestess. I've always seen a high priestess much more as a kind of a force of nature, someone involved with nature a lot, less than which isn't what I get from this card. See, so this is more or less the state of affairs that I'm in at the moment. I am doing my thinking. I'm doing my reading. I have also, booked our train tickets to Amsterdam to go visit the museum and do a bit of shopping after Christmas, and all that's going to be great fun. I've booked a visit to a sauna in the neighborhood that we had free tickets for, and all that type of, holiday, festive things to do with husband, so to make sure that he's got a proper Christmas holiday, because he actually get a couple of days off, so we can sleep, sit by the fireplace and have good meals and chat and sleep and talk and go for walks and do those types of things. So I will be back before that happens, actually. And I will also, update you guys if there's anything else I've got to say. I do want to really do a proper Shakti energy work update, but not yet. Because also a lot of what I have been doing Shakti-wise is sort of filling in the details. And there's the relationship between the Shakti bit and the assemblage point bit, which is also kind of interesting and kind of worthwhile. It's a lot of work and it's exhausting. And there's husband coming home. So I'm saying goodbye to you now. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Okay, guys? Bye-bye for now.